Well,
Oh yeah, fucking.
happy birthday.
Cheers, bloke.
Don't look a day over
Yeah.
21.
I'm not. How's this though?
Oh,
That's a bloody.
nothing like a litre of fucking sugar to start the morning, eh?
You're off to a good start then.
Dude, this is a fucking joke.
Mm-hmm.
This is for us big boys with big hands.
Imagine this with a snorkel.
Yeah, dude.
Just,
Yeah, for your birthday.
I reckon there are. There's guys who can just do, or anyone, any male, female, whatever, they can just do a jug just in.
I don't
straight
understand.
down the throat.
And like you watch it and it's like they're opening up their throat and just letting it fucking hammer down. It's like, you feel horrible afterwards, right?
It's all at once too. Like I feel horrible after a night of drinking, and I'll have them over a night of drinking. I'll have that same amount they have in one hit.
Yeah.
And then they probably go drinking after that.
Yeah.
Like, that's when you know you're an alcoholic, when you can take that and then
Dude.
be like, now I'm ready to start drinking. Like
We on Saturday night I partied with this dude who like I explained it to him afterwards and other people. It seems that this guy gets more energetic the more pissed he gets. Super fun dude. But I'm like, you know, I'm 14 drinks deep and I'm just like, bro, I need to go home and throw up and go to bed.
yeah.
You know, and he's just like, no, we're fucking just getting
I think
started.
I think that's a good thing to
Yeah,
have.
yeah, fuck
Being
yeah,
a
dude.
lightweight, like even Steph and I the other night, we like went and got like Jameson and raw cokes, and we normally have like fizzes because you know we want to feel good the next day or whatever.
Yeah,
But we're like, I just want to get something nice. Like I want to just sit there and enjoy the drink. I don't want to, you know, just drink for the sake of whatever. Like,
yeah.
So I got these, and then we both had two each because of 4-pack. And we're like giggling and laughing on the couch, just like being like, holy
Yeah,
fuck, like,
what's
I'm,
going on?
I'm tipsy. I'm like getting pretty like
Yeah,
drunk.
but then
Like
you realise that that's what people like. That's the shit they like. They like getting there quickly.
instead of 4 drinks, though, it's like taking them 8, and the next time it's like taking
Yeah,
them
yeah.
sculling one of these to actually start to feel something.
Well, this is the thing. Like, I asked myself, you know how the old dudes have the, you know, straight whiskey over rocks and,
Yeah.
like, is that something that you grow into? Or, like, was he drinking whiskey when he was younger and he's just been doing it forever, so now he's accustomed to it? You know?
I think they also just get lazy. Like when I go drinking, I have to, and, you know, and you want to get a bottle or something, you're like, well, I've got to get mixers, and you're like, well, what if I keep drinking and I run out of mixer? So you go buy 2 mixers or whatever.
You've got to get ice.
Well, then you get to this, then you get to the stage where you like, I guess when you drink so much, you just like, I have a bottle of whiskey and I'm just gonna do it now. Like,
Yeah, dude.
you don't want to go get the mixer. You don't. Can we bother? You know, you just pour yourself that, and then it's just.
Yeah, this is the same as a heroin addict being like, I don't want to roll it up and smoke it anymore. I just want it straight in my veins, you know? It's like, man, the process is
When it
part of
rains,
it
it pours.
Yeah, dude.
Like
But
0 to
no,
100.
I mean, it's all drugs, right? It's all addict behavior.
Yeah.
I mean, alcoholism is addiction to alcohol. You know,
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with it because it's so, well, you can't have a problem with it. It's public's norm.
Yeah.
You know, you got a problem with alcohol. It's like, what are you, a fucking loser? Drink some alcohol, you know?
Yeah.
But
no,
then
I
when
think.
you change your terminology and it's that simple. You know?
Well, it's like coffee is technically a drug too, right?
Yeah, dude.
Caffeine, so it's
I
like
would mainline coffee if I could. You
I
know?
can't go there without it. It's one of those things I wake up and I'm like, I can feel myself like, you know, like being slumped over or there, and like I'll be halfway through a day or whatever and being like, why am I feeling? I'm like, I haven't had my coffee, like, you know, like haven't had my fucking hit.
Dude, it's wild to think that like that. I mean, there's probably a bunch of shit like sugar has snuck under the radar. Like I'm fully fucking addicted to sugar.
Oh, I am a sweet tooth at heart. Like that's gonna be the one thing that I fit. I ride all the time.
Yeah.
My dinners, like Steph and I again eat really well. I try to look after myself, you know, and I enjoy eating really well. Like I really get over eating shit food, and like my body will just. And when I want to be as active as I am riding, I really have to keep up with that.
Yeah.
But my thing that I cannot give up is sugar. Like I'll have a treat. I'll eat a bar of chocolate after dinner and not think about my, you know, it's as if it's nothing. And like lunch is always like a really healthy wrap or something good, and there's always something sweet with it. And I'm like, the only way to get away with it is try and like take chocolate away and instead have something like yogurt. So it's still a bit sweet, but it's not.
It's not as harsh.
Yeah, because I am the same as you. Sugar is just my jam. Like even right now, sitting here, like
yeah.
I'll have something like this instead.
I fuck with the sugar more than alcohol. You know.
Yeah.
It's weird, man. Like I started doing the same. I did the replacing ice cream with yogurt, but the problem is you have to make sure there's no ice cream left in the house, otherwise you just have yogurt and ice cream. You know? It's like, well, I'm already there.
And then you just like your
Nothing
main veining.
Yeah. Fucking oath. And like you brush your teeth, you're like, I really shouldn't. I'll just have one biscuit. I'm going to bed after that.
That should be your thing. That should be like, I'm going to clean my teeth so I don't have any more sweets. And you like,
oh man,
I'm at that stage where like I can't eat or drink anything more after I have my teeth clean. So just that's it. You gotta like lock it in and like.
So what's like, obviously you take your riding super seriously. What's your like?
I wouldn't say it's serious. It's fun. Like it's a heap of like it's. I don't think it's serious because if I took it serious, I don't think I'd enjoy it as much.
Yeah. Okay.
It's just something I've always done. I was never really like a Nintendo or like like I never really owned a gaming console. I've never owned a PlayStation or Nintendo or something like that.
Wild.
Always just out. Like mum always bought me like I think it was something, skateboard. I actually had a scooter at one point. Rollerblade. I actually did rollerblading for a long time. I actually had rollerblades that had 4 wheels, and I took out 1 wheel so I could do grinds.
Yeah, sick.
I did like that. Did the free boots for a while, and then BMX came into it. Rode BMX for a long time. Even to date, so until recently, like I haven't had a BMX. It's always been that thing that's been a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But always just been more outdoors and just really enjoyed. I just can't sit still for very long. I don't really enjoy watching long movies. I don't really, can't sit there watching PlayStation stuff.
Yeah.
Just being outside and just adventuring.
Yeah.
I think my mum, always kind of like fed that addiction instead of anything else.
Yeah, and it's also, I think it's pretty, like, obviously what you do, you have a unique way of, like, getting that, what am I trying to say? You've got, like, your way of getting out that kind of feeling through doing something physical, but I think it's a very natural thing.
Yeah, I think it was always just, like, I never really wanted to enter races as well. Like, I could have done BMX racing, I could have done, like, downhill, mountain bike, but I think it was the best thing for me to motivate me was to be against myself.
Yeah.
So going out and trying to learn that trick, and when I land it, that was a better feeling than me going out and beating someone. And I'm just not competitive against other people, but in my own head, like I am, like I've only got to where I'm at because I just like hassle myself to get out and to go and do better than what I did last time in a sense.
Dude, it's so interesting. I have the same mentality. Like I'm against me every day.
Yep.
And like I feel like with Black Ink, I don't really have any competition.
Yeah.
My competition's yesterday.
Yeah.
Like just do better than him.
Yeah.
And we'll fucking be fine for tomorrow.
And you just look back at what you did like 5 years ago in the sense, and then that is a better feeling to me. Like looking back at some like the way I rode 5 years ago and seeing where I'm at now is far better than going out and beating someone by 10 meters, or doing better than that race. Like I've entered races before. I've done track lacrosse, which is like fixed gear but on dirt.
Yeah.
And I've been like third place, whatever, and there's just no drive for me to beat that person. When I ended, I wasn't even feeling bad at myself because I wasn't against that guy.
Yeah.
But if at the end of it I did a last minute trick that was better than I did last time, fucking better than winning.
Yeah.
I've always been against myself with that, and I've always gone out and spent a lot of time by myself riding because that was just again just enjoying my own time and being against myself.
Dude, it's a cheat code. We were talking about this yesterday. Like, I feel like we've got this secret that no one else knows.
Mm-hmm.
Like if I've got my bike and just a bit of nice weather. Fuck, my words are all fuck today. Yeah, a bit of nice weather, and just like like even if you're getting away from a job, just to like get rid of stress for a second. It's like you get on your bike and just start moving forwards. You do a wheelie, you hit a corner nice and hard.
Yep.
It's like, man, this is for free.
Yep.
I just get on my bike and it's for free.
I always just think to myself, man, I was going to go out and just get out to, because it's a sunny afternoon and you finished work and you got to get out, just go out and go around the block just to say you did it to yourself.
Yeah.
And then 5 minutes into it, I find myself like 6 suburbs away and being like, fuck, I got to start heading back. Because once you get that ball, the hardest part again is, I guess when you're against yourself and not someone else, is that motivation to first get out.
Yeah.
Once I'm out, I'm unstoppable. I'll just keep riding by myself. Biggest thing is headphones as well. Like if I'm by myself and we set of headphones in, that music is really jamming.
Dude, that's real fucking PlayStation shit though.
I don't want to go back home because one, the ride's fun, but that music's just put me in the mood just to keep going.
Yeah.
I'm someone who definitely needs that. Yeah, it's fun.
Well, I would say that you're in a unique position in that you're someone that can really, like, with freestyle motocross, someone does a triple backflip, then everyone else knows how to do a triple backflip.
Yeah.
I feel like you're one of the kind of leading pinnacle riders in the fixie scene in the world where you can like come up with a trick that everyone else then goes and replicates.
Yeah, fixie is like, I think for a lot of people it's obviously real odd or whatever, but it's also been around before anything else. So the first ever bike that ever came about was fixed gear because I didn't know how to make a bike freewheel.
Yeah.
So fixed gear was that, then velodrome, kind of like racing, and then from that came gears, then came road bikes, then came mountain bikes, then came BMX.
Yeah.
Then all like the offshoots of that, flatway bit,
Okay, yeah.
So fixed gear has been actually around for so long, and even now to date, like when you think you've done something for the first time, 10 years ago someone probably actually still did it.
Yeah.
So you kind of just like, fixed gear is one of the things that comes in waves. It'll be like most things, BMX will come and go and stuff. And like, it feels like I do a lot of stuff for the first time, but then realistically someone will quickly remind you that you're not really though. So it's kind of like,
man,
you just got to bring your own style to it. Like there's a flow to it. Like someone may have done it that many years ago, but you go do it and someone's like, sees the way you did it and goes, you're the one who does it that way. That's what I'd rather be like.
Dude, I think it's like, even with my skating, I look at it, because obviously like everyone has their unique style and their unique like flair on the way they do things. And I used to think that was like your weakness. And now I realize like that's actually your strength. Like your style, like this is the thing, like you doing like I was talking about that dude who kind of hovers the front of his bike and does a bar spin, and it's while he's riding.
Yeah.
So it kind of looks like it's impossible to do.
Yep.
And then it's like I was thinking about that trick, and I thought, well, there's actually heaps of ways you can do that. It was his inflection on the way he like did it all in one movement and came down.
Yeah.
It's like, fuck, you can be the first person, I know it sounds silly, in the world doing it with that fucking inflection
finesse,
to it. That finesse, that's right, yeah.
Yeah, that style. And I think that's something really important for other people who are getting into something. Doesn't matter what it is, whether it's breakdancing, fishing, whatever it is you want to, is to really just work on doing it your own way.
Yeah.
Doing it, and that's why there's a lot of people I look up to, and like Max and I talk about this all the time. We'll do a trick, and it was seeing someone else do it, but we're trying to almost replicate the way they did it because they brought their own style to it. And we'll be like, you did a bunny hop, but did you see that way like I did the bunny hop, but he tucked it in a certain way? Yeah. I'm going to try and do it like that way. That's, to me, like more impressive if someone's like, oh, Eightyproof does it this way. That means more to me being like, oh, I just did it because that's what felt good to me. But someone's like notices that it's different or really enjoys that side of things.
I think it's crazy. A lot of the times you just try and like get the trick, it's like you're trying to
and
like
your body
execute
just,
it. Yeah. And it's like, oh, he swings super far back. And it's like, that was the thing that worked for me when I did it at the time,
Yep.
It's I think one of the cool things, like I've now been riding fixies I got a fixie for my 19th birthday, and I still have that fixie.
Yeah, that's wild.
So I'm fucking 30 years old, so I've been into fixies like 11 years, and in that time, I've seen my bike go out of fashion and back into fashion.
Yeah.
Like
100%.
the fixie fashion scene is fucking weird, man.
Yeah.
Like the bikes have changed so much, and I feel like the pendulum has swung. Now they've just all gone back to like flat bar, standard, triangle frame.
Yeah.
And
it's like anything though. Like again, BMX. Like when I got into it, everyone was cutting their bars down so that your hands actually started like creeping down onto the curve. And it was so small, and you had 4 pegs and a bash guard and like a half-link chain, and it was just like industrial strength, And these days it's big, high-rise, wide. Your arms are like this. Yeah. And people are, half their bikes made of titanium or plastic or whatever.
Yeah, true.
I kind of like that as well. Like it's you can kind of see when someone. I think I was talking to someone the other day about tattoos. A very similar thing. You know the era when someone got into something. Yeah. According to that, like some people will never let go of it. I'll see a guy down at a skate park, and he's in his mid-40s, and he's got these tiny handlebars and 4 massive pegs and like the bash and like the gyro still like everyone just runs
still there.
And like you can just kind of tell when they got into it and they don't really want to let go of it. And Fixie's going to be very similar. I still see guys getting around, girls, whatever, and their handlebars are absolutely tiny. And they love it, and they're like, oh, I don't want to go to the wide bar. And for me, I'm like,
control, bro.
I'm like looking at it and being like, I don't know how you do it, but again, like even when I got into fixed gear and saw the narrow bar, I still kind of had this, BMX was still in that wide bar thing, and coming from BMX, I was like, I can't ride those small handlebars. I can't do it. And then over time, like it's just become this thing now, like.
Dude, you were the one who made the video with
the broom handle
wide bars. Oh
my God. Like that was literally like but that's in my head how I saw everyone. I was like, some people I'm like, you've gone and got this wide bar and gone to the next level. Like these people who have shoulders this wide and they're riding these handlebars, and I'm like, how are you not popping your arms out of the socket?
Dude.
Like you can see them get to their like to go turn, and like they have to almost let go of the handlebar to be able to like get that little bit more. Like they're so wide. Like
crazy.
And then so from that video, I was just like taking the piss of people who ride handlebars are way too wide for them. And just taking that joke, like.
Dude, and that we were talking about this morning, that handlebar clip of yours that blew up the other day.
Yeah.
See, that's a perfect example of like just going, having fun, doing something that no one's done before, and just seeing if it works.
Yeah.
And then, what do you know? If I can get heaps of likes, heaps of views, heaps of comments.
Yeah.
It's like, that's so fucking.
I just had fun doing it. I mean, another one as well is most of my videos actually, you'll notice that are big and viral, whatever, are at the museum, and that's because I'm surrounded by a bunch of like-minded people. Yeah. And we're sitting around and kind of like talking shit and just like having fun, and I'm like, I wonder if I can like. So one time I was just sitting there and I'm like, I wonder if I could bolt 2 wheels to my forks, like to the front. And one of my mates had a wheel size and tire size exact same as mine. I took mine off, bolted on, and like had one wheel on one side of the fork and one on the other, and like. We was doing it for shits, having fun. I was like, I didn't know that was possible. Like, this is the thing. Like, I'm sure someone else has done it. I'm not going to claim to be the first. Like, that's just ridiculous these days. But I, again, put it up and just blew up. And then after that, there was like 5 or 6 people who were sort of giving it a go. And I'm just like, that kind of stuff to me is the most fun. And that museum is like a sick spot to be because it just really stimulates your creativity. And like,
dude, you're in your community.
Yeah. And like Max and I bounce off each other when we're learning tricks. Again, like I said, I'm against myself. But when you're with someone who gives you that idea, then you go and I'll go and spend that next couple of days by myself to try and get it. Like it's real hard.
Next time you go to the museum, you're like, check this
yeah,
out.
pretty much, you know, like. But yeah, those videos usually come from like me not thinking about it beforehand, but on the spot being like, you know, that hacksaw obviously video. I had thought about beforehand, but even then I was like, oh, I don't want to do this by myself. I want to go and like go and do it with Max. And
yeah, because you do look like a fucking odd cunt sawing off your handlebar by yourself in
a park.
It's for a video. Can you?
Don't mind me. Like, I don't normally carry a hacksaw around with me, but here I am with my hacksaw. Like
I think so. What is the fixie culture in Melbourne? Is there an established group? Like I know. We were talking about this FTW.
It was huge, but COVID has killed it. It's probably COVID sort of made things blow up and other things die out. It's really good for Melbourne's quite flat. And it's why I moved from Brisbane to Melbourne because there was a bigger scene here and I was just really in fixed gear, just so self-absorbed with it.
Yeah. Came
for a couple of holiday trips. And then ended up moving here because it just felt like me. And Brisbane had a really cool scene. Like every Sunday night we'd go for a ride.
Yeah.
And there's probably a good 10, 15 people would go. But it's really hilly, based a bit more on speed and distance and that kind of stuff, and so be it. But I started slowly wanting to do lower gearing and more tricks and kind of felt like, it was real hard to kind of keep up with those rides and whatever. They're really like inviting, as the crowd, like shout out to Matt Leesking for the Brisbane scene. He just kept it alive and kept inviting people and really wanted it involving. But for me, I decided wanting to do more tricks and more, so that sort of things. And when I came to Melbourne, there was a few people doing that. And the rides were, Melbourne's flat and it was just cruisy and just really fun. And that's what I really wanted to get into. So because it's flat, single speed and fixed gear is a really popular way of getting around.
Yeah.
That kind of scene from that, obviously you buy a bike and then start getting really into it.
Yeah.
So that kind of, the scene it was really good and really fun. Had a heap of events during the year. We had a lot of alley cats, which is basically a bicycle treasure hunt for people who don't know what alley cat is.
Yeah.
They put a bunch of spots around the city and you got to get to each spot in a certain amount of time and follow, instructions or whatever. And there was always a group ride on Monday nights. It's called M&R, Monday Ride.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was really cool. But then COVID, it just kind of like, a lot of people were just kind of put the bikes in the shed and didn't really, for me, I didn't really stop because the only thing you could do was ride.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's kind of contradictory that they wouldn't ride.
Yeah, it was a dream come true. Like I feel real guilty when I'm not going to work. Obviously I've always had a job and always like want to keep staying active in that sense. So COVID kind of was like, gave you a reason to, you can't go to work. You have to stay at home.
Yep.
It's the whole world right now is at home. You're not doing anything bad or you feel guilty for that. And you were allowed to go and exercise, and riding was one of those things. So for me, COVID was a blast to go riding by myself because that's what I do normally.
Yeah.
I felt really stimulated and really kind of kept riding and kind of made me push and learn a few things. But we couldn't go into groups and that kind of just died off. M&R stopped.
Yeah.
People felt really guilty. Like a lot of people were really, rattled by COVID and really didn't want to meet up and whatever. And ever since then, it's kind of taken a while to just get back into it again. It didn't really come back booming. A few of the guys who just started going on their own ventures. I know Derek's starting to do a lot more road riding and racing.
Yeah.
Q and Tara are really big into doing the events, and they went and had a kid. So everyone kind of like COVID just kind of split it up, and then it's been hard to sort of get back up. I feel like there's a really big wave right now of wheelie kids. That scene is just like, it's twice as big as Fixie ever was.
That took me in the past 12 months.
Yeah.
I'm a wheelie kid now.
That's just like, I went on a couple of their rides and they're just wild and energetic and they're a lot of fun to go towards, but I'm like the oldest one there and I feel a bit out of place. But at the same time, I'm just doing wheelies on a bike, so...
Dude, I think the biggest thing about this, and like I fuck with this, I talk about this in all my podcasts, like the thing I'm working on the most is community.
Yeah.
Like I just want, obviously I'm trying to build a family around me, so when I get old, you've got family.
Yeah.
But the thing that comes straight after family is community.
Yeah.
So if you're not belonging to something, and like this is the thing, belonging to your local community is wank factor. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's good to like, go and support business and to, be a part of like physically going down the main street and like buying things and doing things. But the part that I really fuck with is like, I want to be around people who like doing what I like doing for as long as possible. I really want to be the 50-something-year-old dude riding his fucking bike, trying to do wheelies with the kids and telling stories about how once I had Eightyxproof on my podcast. And, you know what I mean? And like that really takes participation today.
Yeah.
If you want that to be big in 30 years' time, this is what I'm doing.
You have to start today.
That's right. Now, and like I'm replicating now with my skate crew what Derek did with FTW 8 years ago.
Yeah.
And like I was talking to him about this last night. Like I literally just took the framework of what he did and like down to like, I never really understood this, but like, if you want people to fuck with the things that you do, you literally have to tell them, make it easy for them, like invite them along, make it like, what is it when you get something, make it what is it when you get something in reward for what you do? Incentivize it almost, you know? So it's like, come and be a part of this and you'll get this out of it. And then the result is that people go, fuck, I actually want to be a part of that. And then when they are a part of that, then they belong to it, then they want to stay a part of that. And I think that these niche activities that we're involved with, like rollerblading and cycling, and especially the niche parts of it, like fixed gear riding, it's like, fuck yeah, let's... I know it's been disbanded, but let's get back together, because in 5 years' time, we can have 50 people rocking up on a Thursday getting fried chicken together. Like, dude, doesn't that sound good?
Well, I used to work in a fixed gear specific shop, and people all the time would be like, oh, I'm new in town, or I'm just getting into whatever. Like, is there any group rides or whatever? And you'd be like M&R, just be there, museum, 7 p.m., whatever.
There'll be people
and you'd have that, that thing to invite them to. And all the time I complain, it'd be like, oh, not enough people are out riding, whatever. And then I always, whether someone else or I remind myself, I'm like, so why don't you create, you're complaining about it not being enough rides, whatever. But you yourself are not starting those rides. You're not, like, how are people going to join you if you or yourself, don't actually make that step to it?
You just want to be one of the participants. You don't want to be the leader.
That's just me again, because I'm like always riding by myself, my own. I always just feel like people aren't going to be involved in it. But like you said, you've got to start it to create that culture. And then over time, people want to get, you were saying about the Tree Candy situation, like he just started off filming his videos, doing skids in his car or whatever.
Yeah.
And then he found that people were really like, involved in it, really wanted to, were really, like getting really attached to it and really looking forward to it and stuff. And now it's just blowing up to be an absolutely massive, and people are just almost like a cult.
To be able to release a drink
following
and that be a fucking...
so you don't realize how many people are... fuck with your stuff until you actually start to do it yourself and start and experiment and see like...
Yeah, well this is... I like the data that I've collected so far. What are you doing?
Chelsea.
Come here. The data that I've collected with the skate group that I'm involved with so far, and I say that I'm involved with because I run it and like oversee it, but it was started by another guy actually who had to move away from Bunbury. But the thing I found is like even like... when I go back on Monday night, there'll be like 4, 5, 6 skaters there. And we've been doing it for over a year, right? And you go, fuck, over a year and there's still only 6 people here. The majority of me does the skate to keep me skating.
Yeah.
Like I like skating, so I go skating. I'm going to be there at 6, whether you come or not. But again, I picture in my mind, one night there being 50 skaters, all from Bunbury. And we go and like, the places in town want us to come there to get burgers because they know it's $1,000 walking in the door. That takes however many years, getting 6 skaters, 12 skaters, then 25, then 30, however many years it takes. Realistically, it doesn't really matter about the long-term goal as long as you can appreciate that, like, cool, 6 skaters tonight is part of the process, and I'm still skating and we're still getting burgers and we're still having fun.
You get that thing to look forward to too. Like when I was... like when M&Rs were on and I first moved to Melbourne, that Monday night to me meant everything every Monday night. Dude. Because I literally would, that Monday morning, I go to work and be like, this afternoon after work, I go home, quick, freshen up, have a shower, get changed, and then I'm to museum like that. There's no option. Like people are like, oh, what are you doing Monday night? Like, sorry, already got something on every Monday. And I want to get to that stage as well where people really look forward to, that's that thing they every week look forward to that, coming along and like that. It means it keeps your mental health really active as well, having that thing to look forward to. Like for me, like, when during COVID, it was really good because I go out and ride, whatever, but at the same time, it also was like, I got nothing to look forward to. Like it's, all I do is go out and hang out with my friends as well, as much as, I love riding by myself. I also just want to go and, socialize. So I think for mental health, it's really good to have those group rides. And you might not realize, but the people who come along to your skating, it may seem like there's only 5 or 6 people coming along. But those 5 or 6 people are looking forward to that ride, and they're coming along, they're hanging out with you on their skates, and just thinking to myself, like, I'm having a fucking blast. Like, this is keeping me, like, a smile on my face. And
I think also that, like, sometimes it sucks being the guy running it because you're like, I've got to be down there at this time, and I got to, it's the end of the day, and I've had a big day, and I got to be like, hey, how you going? How's your week been? Sometimes I don't really feel like that. That's the fucking routine and structure that keeps you like an integral man. And it's like, I know you don't want to do it, but you're the man now. You want to be the fucking man? Go do it. And there's going to be times when you get here and it's going to be super rewarding. There's going to be times you get here and it's going to be really fucking hard. You got to talk to someone you don't want to. That's all part of it. And that's all part of it.
It's all part of it. Like you said, you're going to have your good days and your bad days, but you just got to remember the bigger picture.
Yeah, one day I'm gonna fucking own the skating community.
You should see the skating community in Melbourne. Like, talking of which, you know, like, I feel like if anything's gonna thrive, it's in Melbourne. That's just because, like, I don't know, like, everyone's so like supportive of anything, like, whether it's again like breakdancing or rollerblading or like something so niche like throwing a fucking frisbee. Like, we have a frisbee tournament here somewhere. Like, it's an actual, like, there are teams of guys. I can't remember what it's called. There's this thing that you're basically throwing frisbees around, similar to soccer, but you're playing a frisbee instead. And like, I didn't know it was a fucking thing. So I worked with a guy who's like, I'm like, what are you doing this afternoon? I work with him, Kieran. And he's like, I'm going to go to frisbee thing. And I'm like, the what? And he's just like, oh, we just go throw frisbee around. I'm like, that's sick. Only in Melbourne would that be a thing. And for you, like, you know, you might have those 5 or 6 people. Like, in Melbourne, the museum, after COVID as well, because I feel like everyone went out and got skate. It's like, the skating community here is like insane. And like, I've never seen roller skates at a skate park. Yeah. You go down the skate park down here in Fitzroy, and there was like 2 or 3 of these people on roller skates, not roller blades. Like, skates are more popular than rollerblades now. And I'm just like, only in Melbourne would you see a scene for something that anywhere else is like.
It's a full revolution. Yeah. COVID created a full revolution for skating. It was like, it went from being kind of like the, like, gay thing to do. Like, it was crazy. Like, for the longest, I used to hide the fact that I was a skater when I was in high school. You know what I mean? Because it was just like, oh yeah, whatever, dude. Like, that sort of thing. And now, like, it's funny because I tell people like, oh, you know, I feel like a bit of a dork because I'm so tall and skating. They're like, no, skate. Why would you feel like that? And I'm like, because I've had an entire life of feeling like the dickhead who rollerblades, you know?
Yeah, fuck those people though. Now it's cool like you gotta just do your own thing. At the end of the day, it's, you know, like, that one person will see you, like you said, you're skating down the hill, feeling fucking great, and that one person like looks over you and be like, that guy looks like a dickhead. But then you gotta remind yourself that 2 seconds after that, he's just like, oh, look, there's a flower. Oh, look at this dickhead over here. Yeah. This guy can't park for shit. Like, that girl's got a pretty dress. Like, whatever, you know, you just gotta remind yourself that you are crossing someone's mind for, you know, 1 split second of the day. You are in your own rollerblades for those good, you know, few hours.
That's so true.
And it's so hard to get in my head. And that's something I've really, over the years, tried to really push. Like, when you're going to get ready in the mirror and stuff, you're like, you know, you're like thinking to yourself, like, what are people going to think of me, whatever, you know, what am I feeling myself, whatever. Like, just got to remind yourself that those people who see you and judge you or say anything, whatever, they think about themselves 90% of the day, and they thought about you for the fucking 1 split second, and then the other person that junk in the street for 1 split second, like.
It's fucking weird, even like, because those glasses that I stepped out this morning wearing,
Pit Vipers,
I haven't worn these before, I don't know how I feel. It's funny because I feel more pressure walking down the street in Melbourne, somewhere that is like, you can be anyone.
100% you're going,
anyone, anywhere, anytime, you know, like, but in Bunbury, I go out wearing whatever I want because I know that I built this reputation as being the guy, like, oh, Jake's wearing a long sleeve white button up shirt with some short shorts and some Ugg boots. Like, that's just him, you know.
Yeah, and just his hat.
It's fucking weird because, like, in my mind, when I'm at home, I don't go like, what are they going to think of me? I think to myself, like, I don't even know what I think of me.
I'm setting that as well. You're like, you all be in the morning, like.
Let me surprise me.
Yeah.
You know, let's see if you can wear this bullshit that you know doesn't work.
Yeah.
And if you come home and didn't think about it the whole time, then people just look at you and go, oh, that's the guy wearing that thing.
Yeah.
And if they have an opinion of it, you're exactly right. They go to the next thing, the next thing, the next thing, and it wasn't a real opinion
well,
anyway.
That's the same thing about art as well. Like, it's you know, it's like graffiti and stuff. It's created to, like, just stop and make you think about something for a second, you know? Like, if you lived in a house that just had 4 white walls your whole entire life, you'd just go insane. Yeah. Or, you know, that's why I'm so, like, I love Melbourne, how much street art it has, because you're walking along and then you see this piece and you just like stop for a second and it just makes you just like, you know. And people can do the same thing. You can walk down the street and then you see someone wearing, you know, your Jess's hat and some like, you know, like chicken plant, like, you know, something whack, and you just stop for a second and it makes you just like think and almost be like, I don't think it's judging you. It's not that, because that's what you sort of think people are doing. But at the same time, you made someone feel something and stop and just think for a second and just like have a moment themselves being like, that guy feels comfortable doing that. Like, what a fruitcake, but good on him. Like,
well, this is the thing. The dude who asked us for a cigarette lighter at the lights just before, and it's like, this guy is dressed up like he is fucking playing a 10,000 person show tonight, and it's like, I am fucking jealous. He is killing it. You know, he's got the clean shave. He literally looked like a fucking rock star, a washed up rock star. And it's like, that's just who you are. That's what you do every day. You know, this is you. And it's like, it's funny because I don't know whether this is just growing old, but like, I get to these moments like that where have that thing where you want to go like, what a fruitcake, you know? And then you go like, well, who the fuck am I?
You're the fucking fruit on the fruitcake.
I'm wearing Pit Viper glasses right now. He's probably thinking that I'm the dickhead.
Imagine fruitcake's looking at fruitcake. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, what a dickhead. Dickheads looking at dickheads pointing
at each other. 2 ships at the night, eh? Just like
there's 2 people pointing at each other being like, what dickheads?
Yeah.
And he's like, at the end of the day, there's like people looking at the dickheads saying what dickheads, being like, what dickheads? Like,
exactly, man. Exactly.
No, you really can't. I mean, in this world, you just can't think about what other people think. It's a really hard concept because that's all we do. And social media's made it even harder because you just feel like whatever you put up, someone's going to have something negative to say or whatever. But you just got to remind yourself that even when people put a negative comment on the thing, like, you can't drink poison expecting it to harm someone else. Like, if they felt a certain bad way or whatever, that's affecting them, not you. So you got to like just be wearing whatever you want, doing whatever you want, wearing your rollerblades, even if people don't fucking fuck with it. You just got to remind yourself that it's their issue, not yours. And that's such a hard concept. And so, like, you know,
so you've got like a fucking good following on Instagram. You got like 34,000.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
So
yeah.
What was the trajectory? Did you have like big periods of growth?
Yeah, like I first started my account, and that's where Eightyxproof came from. I used to really like, when I first started Instagram back when it started, whatever. I was just drinking a lot, living on the Gold Coast, and I really liked Sailor Jerry. I just liked everything about it. I was getting tattooed a lot then. Sailor Jerry was a famous tattooist, and then made the spiced rum, which I happen to just absolutely love and drink a lot of it. Yeah. When I started my account, it was a personal account that I just put up stuff like, you know, like you do when you just life. I think I got up to about 4,000 followers, and then just kind of got to the stage where I just wasn't creative with it. Couldn't just kind of go over again. You just kind of get sick of the negative content, so I just felt like it was so self-indulgent, and so like I couldn't get myself to, like, you know, there's periods where I just didn't post and really didn't enjoy it and didn't want to put myself in front of the camera and take photos and like just didn't give a shit about what other people thought about that. And it was really hard to motivate myself to find a reason to do it. And then just before I moved to Melbourne, I just decided to stop doing that, create a whole new account, start fresh, and have it purely for my writing. I put a couple videos on Facebook and people would really enjoy it, and I saw like I could literally at any moment be like, oh, I should post a video today or photo, and walk over to my bike, take a picture of it, and it's relevant and I'll enjoy it, and I'm not involved in it myself, but people, you know, people can enjoy something for what it was, and it wasn't me. So I switched the account name to Eightyxproof, to the new account, and then gave the old one, you know, my old personal account, a different name, and just literally stopped posting on that. And just started, again, when I got to Melbourne, just started posting videos, and it just, like, I think it was a good time to be doing it because it was when fixes kind of started coming back and going, you know. But I just found like, again, I really just loved it. I could just go out at any day and get content because it was what I was doing anyway. Even when I had my personal account, I was riding every day, but just didn't really think people gave a shit. And I was riding BMX before I started fixed gear, and BMX is so saturated and so hard to be unique in. But fixed gear, I felt like I brought my BMX skills to fixed gear. And for a lot of people, like, fixed gear freestyle has been around for a long time. I don't know when, but back in 2008, 2009, it was blowing up. They even had Red Bull sponsors and stuff. And for me, I was just kind of like, just doing bunny hops and tricks on my fixed gear because it just felt, it was just I loved fixed gear because BMX, you'd have to put your bike on the train or in a car to go somewhere, to ride somewhere.
It's so impractical. Like tiny wheels, little seat.
It's so low gearing. It's so slow. It's so, you're like working so hard for it. So when I got a fixed gear originally. My mate Steve, his girlfriend bought him one, and I just decided to have a go on it. And first day I rode it, I did a skid, and I was like, this is cool. Nice. This is fun. Like, and I just like, so I went went out and bought a cheap $200 fixie and just started riding from A to B and having a blast and kind of doing those tricks that I wouldn't do on my BMX. Like, on the way, and just through that, just kind of started getting my own style through that. And I didn't watch a lot of videos. I kind of started doing fixed gear freestyle without realizing there was fixed gear freestyle. And I remember like I actually got shunned a bit on the Brisbane rides because I'd want to do wheelies and I still wasn't that good at it. So every now and then I'd be in a pack doing wheelies and I'd throw off the back and the bike would go flying. I can see why, but the whole time all I want to do was dumb shit on my fixie and do wheelies and bunny hops and tricks. And all these other guys wanted to be in Lycra and big gearing and like drop bars, and like I was a guy with like...
Oh, that's a totally different approach.
Yeah, like they just wanted to blast and punch out 40Ks, and all I want to do was just like fish and chips and wheelies and like... And like, so...
What was your first trick that you like nailed?
Probably fish and chips was one of the first, and I remember watching a million YouTube videos, and I think I did that because you couldn't do fish and chips on like any other bike because you pedal backwards. So BMX, you could technically, you know, try and put a foot down, but fixed gear is the one trick that you can ride backwards on.
So, and that's what you actually do. A fish and chips, you doing rotations or are you just doing these ones?
the whole time you're pedaling backwards, you never pedal forwards, but you sort of slow when you're going too fast, you stop your feet level.
Yeah.
And that kind of gives you a few spins. Then when you're slowing down, you're starting your speed spins are kind of controlled with your feet.
So like in an ideal situation, you could actually just non-stop keep doing fish and chips.
I go till I'm too dizzy. Like if there's a point there where I'm like, if I don't concentrate enough, I'll fall to the ground because you just, yeah. So I like, when I'm standing, like throwing myself up to back on the saddle to ride away is at the point where I'm just like too dizzy. So I think I think the most I've done is like in the 20s.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like I've got a couple of videos. I think of
How much travel have you got?
You stay in one spot.
So you can just stay in that one spot?
Yeah, so I've done some where I think I did a video, I was like 8 or 9 of them in a row on like a pier, and it's just like a square thing, and you don't really, you sort of stay there and do them, and when you lock them in, and again, like I watched again videos of when I first got into it, I think it was 2010 or 11 is when I first got my fixie.
Yeah.
Like I could already manual a BMX, so you don't really do wheelie a BMX, you manual it, so your feet are still and you pull it up.
Yeah. And
that's because wheelies, you're kind of sitting on your seat and doing it.
Yeah.
Manuals is when so I kind of, like learning wheelie. I could always wheelie bikes no matter what, but fixed gear I probably learned wheelies first.
Yeah.
And I actually learned them like clipped in with big gearing.
True.
Again, like that's all I knew with fixed gear, so I decided to start picking it up and just, I know what
nuts. You have to be like...
It's so scary because like when you're learning, you go over the back a lot.
Yeah.
And like for me, there was a few times where I was on my ass and I'm still clipped into the pedal. So like I'm on my ass, still kind of holding the bars or like bracing myself and I'm still like clipped in.
I hate that feeling, man. It's bad enough when you do that in a roadie falling over at the lights.
Yeah.
You know,
everyone does it. I did a few times, just like firstly going into clips. But again, when Steve and I got into it, because Steve's the guy who got me into fixed gear for sure. Like again, he's the first one to get one. And me and him just used to just blast around at first. All we had to do was just go fast and ride long distances, and we were kind of sick of always hurting ourselves on our BMX, so we kind of went to fixies again to kind of like just have something a bit more like chill. That it was bikes, so we're gonna have a blast, but we weren't throwing ourselves on the ground. And then after a while, I just started doing tricks, and now these days I throw myself on the ground anyway. So it's kind of the same thing.
So what was like? Did you have a first big pop?
What do you mean, like with Instagram?
With following, yeah.
It's pretty consistent for a while. It just kind of like climbed consistently for a long time. And like I said, I kind of really enjoyed bikes instead of a personal account because I could just pick a subject and just go out and ride and just do what I'd been like filming whatever I'm doing anyway.
Yeah.
I don't really know why it kind of blew up because it wasn't really, like I said, Fixie Freestyle's been around for a long time, but...
I think you got a trifecta of things happening. You're Australian. The world loves Australians.
Yeah, they do, yeah.
You're covered in tattoos and you're doing something that's really niche.
Yeah.
You know?
And I never really sort of viewed Instagram as being like, that viral thing or that, whatever. It was always just because people would just keep pushing me because they really enjoyed it. Yeah. And people would comment it, and I just learned that I just would comment back and really kind of build a little community online in a sense because I just really enjoyed that people loved doing what I love doing. Yeah. And it wasn't about me, it was about my writing, and that was kind of a bit more like easier for me to get in to fall in love with Instagram and start then learning about the algorithms and learning about when to post and that kind of stuff. And I really did that because I wanted more people to see my stuff because I was really enjoying it and wanted to love that feedback.
Yeah, I think one easy thing is like if you're not going in with the intention of like how do I get the most viral clip, if you instead go like how do I make what I'm doing look the very best?
Yeah.
Because a byproduct of that is going viral. And the good part about it is like you can be passionate about it and it's effortless. You can be excited about the result you're getting and you're producing because you're like, this is exactly what I like. This is the best angle. This is the best version. Even what I posted this morning of you. Yeah. Like that clip is so almost addictive to watch because it's like, as I was explaining to you, the way that everything's moving in time with each other, it's like it's so like, oh, it's aesthetically pleasing. Yeah.
I love watching flatland BMX for that reason.
Yeah.
Some of the angles and balance points they find just blows my mind because I'll do one spin and it's so difficult, and these guys will just pivot on one spot in different parts of their bikes, and they just lock into that balance point. Like it's hard enough doing a balance point, like just as well as I do. When you do a wheelie, you got to find it's all about that balance point.
Yeah.
Whereas on a flatland bike, they're doing it on the pegs, saddle, bar, like all over the bike. They're finding that balance point on everything, and like if you can nail one balance point to get like 10 different balance points,
a combination in a row is nuts.
Blows my mind. So I kind of get that people would watch Fish and Chip and be like, how the fuck? The same thing as why I watch a guy on a flatland and just a girl, and then they just are pivoting on that one point over and over in that one, and I'm just like, how the fuck are you still like doing that? Like just
there's this guy in Perth, Trav, and he rides sumos, Grom, like he can wheelie fucking anything, I'm guessing, but he like his transitions, like his combos when he's doing shit on the back wheel. Sorry, he's a wheelie rider.
Yeah, yep.
He's a full stunt rider, but he's a real specialty in wheelies. He's done a fucking, you know how like that Jake dude from London does the no front wheel. Yeah, so he's done that on a 110.
Yeah, sick.
Taking the front wheel off a 110 and just unlooped for days.
Started with no wheel. This
Yeah. So I watch him do these combinations where I can understand that it's happening. Obviously, my mind conceives it because you're like, I'm watching it and it's happening. But I do not understand how you have a variable balance point on a fucking moving motorbike when you don't have control of the back brake.
It's all in your wrist as well.
It's all wrist. So he's got no control of his back brake. And he's moving around like he's stepping on the back seat and then doing like down to the arse, down to the other arse, back up again. It's like putting a leg over you. Like, how do you get good at that?
Well, it's the same thing, I mean, you just have to remind yourself the amount of time. Like when you see that, I just remind myself of how much time they've spent by themselves or with other people, just that muscle memory, replicating it over.
And that's the bizarre part, is that's what it is.
And no panic as well. Like you panic and you like, that's at the moment where you like start not being sure of yourself. Like if you like, there's been points where I'm wheeling and a car's coming over and then I got a tram next to me and like part of you just wants to drop it and like go whatever. The other part of me is like, just hang back, let it all happen. And then it'll clear out and you're like, yep. And like,
how crazy is it that you actually learn the more you relax, the better the result pretty much all the time?
100%. I always say that, like when people are like, what's the tips for wheeling? I'm like, just put all your weight into your hips. And when you are up in a wheelie, you are pushing on your legs the same amount as you would in a flat ground. It's the less you jolt and move and the more like chill you are and just like putting your weight and just letting it just happen.
Yeah, like, dude. And that feeling. Oh my God, that feeling.
That balance. Like when I first learnt no foot wheelies, I was just like, because that's purely balance point. There's no brakes and you're not pedaling.
Yeah.
So no foot wheelies are all your weight in your hips and just where you put your feet in. And that was like, I think I was more stoked to learn them than normal wheelies. So I'm just like, this is the pure balance point. This is pure you just floating. Like,
look, mum, no feet.
Yeah. I think we realised that with fixed gear, it's easier to wheelie a fixed gear than it is any other bike. Like for me, I could wheelie anything you give me because again, that balance point is what you got to find on each thing.
Yeah.
But fixed gear, like you're in control the whole entire time with your feet. So it's just like
Dude, I had a full moment yesterday when because like obviously we went for a quick ride and I pulled your bike up and like doing a wheelie. I'm like, yeah, that's sick. Went to Derek's place, got in his Julie, pulled that up, and that's a whole different bike again.
Again, your suspension adds to it.
You're further forward, you got more suspension, so you really got to reef it up. And then when you get it there, you know how like knobblies, you kind of have to balance more than on slicks because you've got like this point and then two flats and then a drop off.
And then you pass that point and it's just boom. Like,
And I realised, like, holy fuck, I rode two bikes that I've never ridden before and just pulled the front wheel up straight away. Like, I'm at that level now.
Yeah.
And just the thought that, like, I don't know if it was me and Derek or me and you talking about this, like, as a fucking 30-year-old, as a 29-year-old, I learned how to wheelie a bike.
Yeah.
You know? It's like the fucking amount of, like Derek said to me years ago, you want to get good at wheelies? Pull the front wheel up 1,000,000 times.
Yeah.
It's just 1,000,000 times. And once you've done it 1,000,000 times, you'll be able to do it.
Yeah.
And then you realise, like, what you're saying is exactly right. These cunts have done this so many times now that the less they think about it, the better it is.
It's almost sad how much time you have to spend. Like you look at someone who's really good at something and you're like, you've just spent so much time in a car park doing that same over. And I look back at what the amount of time I spent by myself just doing it over and over. But like, then when you go and jump on someone else's bike and just do it straight away, and you're like, how the fuck are you wheeling my bike better than me? And
yeah. Well, that's what I had in Jakarta. I gave my bike to Dill and Derek.
Dill
and they're both doing fucking fish and chips, wheelies, and I'm like, no, my bike doesn't do. Oh, okay. I don't do that on that bike.
Yeah.
And then you realise, like, okay, if that, I think the biggest thing for me, and like, it's different seeing you online doing something, and you live in Melbourne, you know, you're 80-proof in Melbourne. Of course, you can do all this crazy shit. But then when Dylan comes to Bunbury, and he gets on my bike and he does something that's crazy, it's like,
shout out to Dylan. I love you, bro.
Yeah, bro.
You're a fucking legend.
And we miss you. Good man,
delicious,
Dylan.
bro.
But then it makes it real.
Yeah.
Because then you go like, oh, this is actually fully fucking possible where it's in front of me. And this is the same as going like Monday night at the museum. When you're surrounded by people doing shit that's better than you, metal sharpens metal.
Yeah.
You know, you get better by default.
That's back to what we first started off in just being against someone else. Like I would learn more and will be more ambitious to learn something when I see one of my mates like Max learn something than again racing. Like like people who race are a completely different style of person to people who like do freestyle motocross or roller skating, rollerblading, all that kind of stuff. Because it's just like, I don't know, competitions to me are just a completely different thing. Like being around your mates and just learning something, vibing off them, and then wanting to learn myself is just a completely different
I even said to Derek last night, I'm glad that it's you racing and not me. I grew up, like my teenage years were racing.
Yeah.
And I'm a competitive motherfucker.
Yeah.
I need to not have someone that I need to beat. Otherwise, my life is fixed around knowing exactly what it takes to beat them.
Yeah.
And that's why like having black ink as a creative pursuit is great, because it's like your only goal is to create enough money to live and hopefully heaps more.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So when there's no like clear, like I got to sell 1,000 more t-shirts than this person, or I've got to create something that's 400% better than that product.
Yeah.
It's so much easier just to like go, okay, what did I do yesterday? What did Black Ink do last month? What did we do last year, and how can we do it better this year? And that just creates this like almost freedom to be good, you know, instead of like a necessity to be good.
Yeah.
You know?
No, I 100% agree with that. It's really important.
Yeah, fucking all this talk about riding bikes is making me want to go ride bikes, eh?
Well, I mean, you're talking to you're preaching to the choir, to be honest.
I'm fucking super keen to see what I can do with the videos that I got of you yesterday and try and get some more shit today. Yeah.
No, it's been really motivating. I really enjoy it. It's been good to have you around as well.
Well, is there anything you would like to plug?
Yeah, just jump on and support me on Instagram on at Eightyxproof. Again, just jump in the comments. Tell me what you think. If you're in Melbourne, don't be afraid to reach out and DM me and come join me. I don't even care like what bike you're on, because I thrive with bikes in general. The only reason I stuck to fixed gear is it's kind of like the only thing that's really like, I mean, I take a little bit further, but whether you're on BMX, mountain bike, whatever, just come join me for a ride. I'm down for it. I don't care if you skateboard. I got a skateboard. I mean, I'll probably rollerblade. I'll do whatever. So,
dude, it's all fun. Hey, that's the thing.
100%. If it's got wheels, I'm probably gonna enjoy it. But yeah, and again, if you want to check out some of my merch, it's Eightyxproof Big Cartel. I got a bunch of really. I don't have one on me now, which is a bit bad plug, but
your keychain?
I've got keychains. So if you're someone who loses your keys all the time, like I promise you, they'll be the best investment of your life. They're really practical. I got hats, t-shirts, stickers, all that kind of stuff. I've been a bit lazy with promoting it lately, so jump on and help me with that. And that just helps me buy more bike parts, and that makes me happy.
Yeah, fucking
The more cruisers, the better.
Yeah, fucking the more long neck cruisers, the better,
By the way, just go get yourself a long neck cruiser.
I feel bad that I finished my 600 mils of fucking alcoholic cordial before you, eh?
No, I'm just talking too much. But they get down too easy.
Yeah, fucking oath. My name is Jake Kerr. This is Rob Gaines. This has been Black Ink Podcast. Be good to your mum, because we are fucking out.
Appreciate you.